We are live, and it's time to talk about my favorite time of the year, draft season, and specifically the NFL Scouting Combine. It's in the books. We have risers, we have fallers. What are the Browns going to do? What should they do? Quarterbacks and everything in between. I have fallen in love with several of these players and also crossed a bunch off my list. We're going to get to all of it right now. Let's go.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara, the sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Chubb runs, he's to the 10, 15, he's to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There goes Chubb, he's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Chubba Lubba Hub.
It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody. Combine's done. Next step, free agency. Then the draft. Rumors running wild as well. The Browns listed their group of free agents. There's a lot. Unrestricted. And Maurice Hurst is in there. There's a Troy Brown. There's a whole bunch of pieces that are on a 3 and 14 team. Nobody that stands out on that list. You're like, boy, can't let him get away. I wouldn't mind Maurice Hurst back. But the free agent group is there, and now it's all part of that build, right? We've seen the combine, pro days coming after that, but then also what happens in free agency, and then how do what we learned from this past weekend fit in to what should be the draft plan? Make sure you're clicking notifications on, subscribe, like, jump in the chat. Let me know who's your combine star. Who'd you like? Who stood out to you? Do you have a favorite quarterback, running back, line, whatever? Let me know. Jump in the chat. Also follow us on X at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, Instagram at AndyMCSports. Oh, gonna be a lot of fun. The Myles Garrett rumors continue, and apparently at the draft, his team, Andrew Berry, wanted to talk to them and said, nope, not interested. So that's another line drawn in the sand, and it seems like Myles Garrett just really wants out. And after seeing how many prospects here, boy, I'll tell you, I wouldn't mind another first-round pick if I was the Browns. I wouldn't mind that. You know, do you want to lose a generational talent, future Hall of Famer and Myles Garrett? Hell no. Is it another droplet of despair that has fallen from the cloud known as Deshaun Watson? Yes. But if he wants out, you're never going to get him at a higher value than he is right now. Never. He's 29 years old. 2 great seasons in a row. So you might as well do it, okay? We'll go through some of the defensive linemen. I think you're not going to find a Myles Garrett, but I think you can build around and build a more complete team. Okay, you went 3 and 14 with Myles. You can go 3 and 14 without him, believe me. So we'll get to all that. What a combine. I do want to know you guys, if you liked any specific quarterback or if anybody stood out, because I got mine. And we're going to welcome in on the Stadium Mustard hotline in just a moment. From ballparks to backyards and everywhere in between, Stadium Mustard is a smooth but spicy mustard, rich in taste and tradition. Stadium Mustard is real and organic, not manufactured. Cleveland Browns Stadium, Huntington Bank Field, Ohio, America, Canada, all Stadium Mustard. Put it on your deli sandwiches, your chicken strips, your chicken fingers, whatever, tenders. Put them on there. Had it the other day. Love it. Pork chops, burgers, hot dogs. Stadium Mustard. Go get it. And we're going to go get our guy, John Vogel, NFL draft expert. And he is ready to rock and roll with me. I know you're pumped. Johnny, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Andy, thanks again for having me.
Oh, love having you on. Thank you. And I want to talk to you specifically right after this combine because everything's fresh. And I always find it interesting, John, just before we look at some of the prospects, of how players, quarterbacks maybe more than others, but how players rise and fall draft value with playing 0 games, right? It's like, hey, he did some drill poorly and he's falling, or vice versa. That always kind of amazes me.
Yeah, some of it is, a guy doesn't test up to where you expect him to based on the tape. And sometimes it's us in the media just catching up to what the league thinks about a guy. It kind of goes both ways. Sometimes we're higher on somebody than they are. Sometimes they're higher on somebody than we are. And ultimately, what matters is what they think. It doesn't matter what we think. We're not making the picks. So
that's right. Not yet. Not yet.
This is that time of the year we're starting to really like the combine is when you really start to figure out what the NFL thinks about some of these
Yes.
players.
Yeah.
And it really opens the door to some of the analysis and really starts to open up the mock drafts, uh, especially with the trades potentially down the line. Um, it truly is the best time of the year if you love the
Oh,
draft.
I love it. And so I want to cover a few different areas. Linemen, of course, quarterbacks, a little bit of tight end and running backs for the Browns. I'll tell you right off the bat, this guy, and I don't know what round he's going to go in, John, maybe third, because we got the big names. Mason Graham, sensational. Derek Harmon, yes. But the guy that jumped out to me as just somebody that just oozed high motor, aggression, and just played. He ran angry, John, was Ty Robinson out of Nebraska, 6'5" and a 288. And what stood out to me was this: these drills, they're just running around pylons. John, this guy beat the crap out of those dummy things like they owed the money. It was wild. He was so crisp and aggressive. And in Nebraska, he played up and down the line. And I thought, boy, man, he would look really good as a chess piece and not having to be a full-time spot, a rotational guy to start in the Browns offense or any other offense. Ty Robinson is the guy who stood out to me from Nebraska. You can chat on him or if anybody stood out to you specifically.
Well, this is the fourth show I've done today, Andy, and nobody's brought up Ty Robinson, so I love it.
See, that's why you're here.
He dropped a good bit of weight, for the
Yeah.
combine, and I think that really helped him with his run too. He's very athletic, like you said, he plays up and down the line. Um, his ability to really get into the pocket, I think, is a gap shooter is what really brings a lot of talent. And I can't think of the word off the top of my head. I'm sputtering. I'm sorry.
We're
Um,
fried. It's okay.
potential. That's where his potential is as a gap shooter. He can two gap as well, so that's what allows him the versatility to play across the line. Um, he's a fun one, man. Ty Robinson,
I fell in love
probably
with
a
him,
day
man.
three guy, but a guy that is absolutely going to make an impact in year one.
Boy, like if you could get a guy like that, and again, we're not expecting him to be what people expect Mason Graham to be, an every down player to start. But you can't teach that type of like John. He was twitching. He was like it was like a rabid animal. It was amazing. I loved the force coming out of him. So Ty Rob, this is as excited I think I've ever been about a defensive lineman besides Myles Garrett, and he's not Myles Garrett. So this is a place where the Browns need help. So maybe later in that draft, you pick up a Ty Robinson. Out of the bigger names, the Mason Grahams, the Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Toledo looked good. Did
Yeah.
anybody sort of rise, fall that you thought or jumped out to you?
Well, I've been a big fan of Shamar Stewart throughout the process.
Mm,
Out of Texas A&M, he tested out the wazoo as well. But he's a guy that he played at 290 at Texas A&M last year and rotates up and down, played anywhere on the defensive line. I had him coming in the year as a defensive tackle, and I turn on
mm,
the tape and I'm looking, and he's not anywhere on the defensive. He's not playing anywhere inside the guards, and I'm, whoa, where is he? He's
yeah.
lined way out as a wide nine, and he's coming screaming off the edge. And so he lost a little weight as well. He got down to 267. I saw a lot of comparisons actually to Myles Garrett. I
Mm,
don't think he's necessarily that type of player, but he's a very high motor guy. 39 pressures last year. People are going to talk about the lack of finishing. He had four and a
right.
half sacks over the last 3 years. That had a lot to do with the Texas A&M pass rush rules, essentially the coaching that didn't allow them to chase after the quarterback, stick to their lane, and really try to keep that quarterback in front of them. That's
Mm,
really what that had to do with, and then playing a little bit heavy. And I'm always has their guys play heavy for some reason, but I love his potential. And of course, I love Walter Nolan as well at Ole Miss.
yeah.
Not just trying to rag on SEC guys or anything, but uh, Walter's a guy that reminds me a lot of Damoon Kong Su. So that's the type
Mm.
of player that I think you're getting with him. Very intense, great motor, heavy hands, and he's going to be an absolute force to deal with on the interior.
It's such a fun class. This is the most fun probably I've had looking at defensive line. It's such an interesting group with Mason Graham too, wrestler. And I'll tell you again, I really like that Darius Alexander out of Toledo. So we move to some Browns league defensive line. They need a lot of stuff. But let's move to the quarterbacks, okay? We can't bury the lead anymore. We'll swing back to tight ends. And I'll say this. I love when a player can change my mind, because I went in to this combine with Jackson Dart thinking, you know what? And we talked after the Senior Bowl. And I was thinking I was like, you know what? Poor start to the Senior Bowl. Finished better. Yeah, okay. Just maybe he's being talked up. Then at the Senior Bowl, John, I saw him do everything right. I saw his footwork better. I saw his arm motion smooth. I saw him connecting on everything. And he's not, and I'll make this comparison. Not that he's not Josh Allen in any sense, but the comparison is how he developed along the way. Josh Allen 2018 was poor completion percentage. Started the Senior Bowl and then did very well. Pro Day, really good. Combine, wow. And it shows the player can grow and be coached, and he's trying to get better. And that's why I saw it at Jackson Dart. What about you?
Yeah, I think you're onto something. With Dart, I was very critical of him at Ole Miss, and mostly because of the offense that Lane Kiffin runs down there, which
Yeah.
is the read progressions don't match up to anything that anyone else does in college or in professional football. And so that's very hard sometimes to make that translation from that system and understand how you're going to read the next system in the NFL. That's kind of what we saw with Jordan Ta'amu, with Matt Corral a couple of years ago at Ole Miss. They really struggled with the mental side of the game. But Dart doesn't seem to be doing that. I think that I really kind of started to change my opinion a little bit before the combine, because talking with some different people across the league and with several teams now, this guy's got first round grades with, I would say, at least half of the league, judged based on the conversations I've been having. And several of these teams up in the top 10 have first round grades on them, which means that they're probably willing to go ahead and take him there inside the top 10. So Dart's actually, people are really impressed with him. He's interviewing well. He's looking at really making an impact at the next level, maybe being this year's Bo Nix, I think, is what a lot of people are kind of throwing around, but maybe not the rookie of the year kind of campaign if you don't have 6 other great rookies in that class playing incredibly well last year. But I think that someone is going to take him with the intention of making him their starter this year.
I'm with you. Sneaky athleticism. And also, I didn't know this. I saw on the combine, 10.8 yards per attempt, led FBS. And this is something that's what I like to see too. He doesn't have to be a dink and dunker. The guy can go for chunks. His deep ball accuracy and the fluidness and the power surprised me a bit. And I was pleasantly surprised by it. Like this guy. And again, I love when I change my mind, because I went into that general of like, you know what? I'm going to watch my guy Will Howard and just see kind of what plays out. And Jackson Dart left off the page. I thought Quinn Ewers did himself no favors. He looks mid, man. He looks vanilla yogurt to me. I'm not too interested. Yeah. Am I missing something?
Yeah. No. He's going to go in that 3rd, 4th round range, most likely. Yeah. Probably more likely in day 3. And maybe there's a little bit of arm talent there, but there's nothing else that's really there with him.
No.
I saw an estimate. I forget the name of the company that put it out there, but they had him estimated to run a 4.48 40, and he's not going to do anything close to that. But he mid athlete, decent arm, and yeah, he's a day 3 project.
Yeah, he was on the deep ball, not like there was some high balls. Like he looked average. And he also, his haircut looked like he was trying to go for Matthew Stafford as Halloween. That threw me off too. I didn't like that. That was weird. But like Quinn Ewers didn't do himself a favor. Jackson Dart did. Will Howard did not. But I'll tell you, we talked about it after the Senior Bowl, John. Will Howard, I just feel so strongly has those intangibles that we saw the gorgeous deep ball. He was missing a bit of some guys, but I thought the footwork was clean. The arm motion's there. But the field general, and I heard that there's 15 guys from Ohio State who went to the combine, one being Howard, and like 12 or 13 of them said they were asked if you could take one guy from your team to the NFL with you, who would it be? They said Will Howard. Like he's got the leadership. We saw the drive. We saw that passion. we saw that. I'll bring up Josh Allen again. That Josh Allen kind of aggressive physicality where he can run and throw it. He's raw. He's, to me, not as much of a, maybe he will be that type of boomer bust where if he goes to a Buffalo Bills situation with Brian Daboll like Josh Allen did, he's got a chance. If he went to New York Jets like Sam Darnold, we might not be talking about him much.
He's interesting, and it's because he's got size.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the arm talent and the athletic ability. Not something that's typically found in that kind of a frame, and that's why people immediately go to Josh Allen with him.
Yeah.
He's not that level of prospect at all. The thing with him, I think, that really helps him is, first off, he had those 4 years he played at Kansas State, so he got some under center experience. Understands how to play in that type of an offense and that type of a system. But I think also with him, there's the potential, the Ohio State half field read progression system really kind of exposed him to some different stuff, some different spread type elements. Now he's got to bring all that together.
Right.
There's a couple teams that spend a lot of time with him that are in need of a quarterback, and one in your division that I think would target him. Not necessarily first round, but day
not
two.
Pittsburgh. Don't tell me Pittsburgh. Don't tell me Pittsburgh, John.
I mean,
he's gonna.
Who else
if he
needs a
goes to the
quarterback in your
Steelers, it's gonna be Big Ben. And he's gonna screw me for 20 years. Oh my gosh, no! I can't have it. I can't. There's two things I can't have in this draft. Or you're gonna hear me screaming from wherever you are, John. It's the Browns taking Jalen Milroe in the first round. I'll lose it. And if the Steelers take Will Howard, I'll be weeping. I can't have it. He's that type of quarterback that would go to the Steelers and it would work out. I wonder this though. What about who's the new offensive coordinator? Wait, Chip Kelly went to Vegas, right? Is it Vegas he's with?
Yep.
He's the one that was with Will Howard and the Raiders. If they don't strike, boy, do they need a quarterback. I'm not saying they got to hit in free agency. Not that Will Howard should be a day one guy, but if he's still there in the second round when the Raiders pick, I could see Chip Kelly saying, hey, man, look what I did with this guy. We went after being down and out with Michigan and marched under all the pressure. That might be something to look at Raiders as a landing spot.
Yeah, I think that's a good connection. The one thing that stalls that is Chips has to sell that to Tom Brady, and that might be a little bit harder, than it might sound like, because Tom's got his opinion. And his opinion is gonna mean a lot in that organization this year.
Sure. Is it a Shedeur Sanders, right? And I also heard you mention Pittsburgh. I heard today, and it's silly season rumors flying all over. Who knows what's true, what's not.
Yeah.
But that the Steelers, who have their own quarterback problems, are looking to be aggressive to go get a QB in the first round, and that their eye could be on a Jackson Dart as well. Jackson Dart is the type of QB, John, I think that can fit in. Like, you can pop him into any situation, and I wouldn't really feel uncomfortable. There's not like a team I don't think is like, no, or a system. He seems pretty adaptable.
Yeah, I think from first off on Pittsburgh, I've heard it both ways. That they're not going to go early with the quarterback. Now, I'll tell you that the tracking, where they've been scouting and where they've been in different locations, it does look like they wouldn't target a first round guy. They didn't spend a lot of time with first round players this year. I think the biggest surprise I got out of the combine was from the quarterback standpoint is Shedeur Sanders. I've now heard from 3 different people that were in interviews with him. He was not interviewing well at all. And
Really?
So some of these mock drafts that you're seeing come out with people that were just there in Indy, either not having Shedeur in the first round or him dropping very late, have to do with that. I know Trevor Sikkema just put one out today at PFF that has him going 29th overall. I guess he didn't have him at all. CBS put out one that had him 29th overall.
What a tumble that would be.
That opens the door for, Dart to essentially go top 10. And yeah, like you said, I think that he's in his system, or he's got a skill set that you can kind of plug him into West Coast. You could plug him into an Air Coryell, more to that style. Like, there's not a lot that he can't do.
let's talk about your Shedeur Sanders comment for a moment, because it's like
Mhm.
when he was up at the podium, seemed very likable, very engaging. You know, he's been media trained and grew up with Dion, so he's comfortable there. Did you hear any specifics as to like, not that anyone's going to tell you their dark secrets, but as to like why? Like, was it more like I wonder if it's more, was he unable to break down film, or was it personality, or was it like there had to be
I
something,
no, I
because
think it
for him to
was
drop.
from what I understand, they called it arrogance. Um,
Ah,
and I think that this is one of the problems that I had with, projecting Shador, looking at him from my standpoint, which is he's been coached by his dad his entire life, which is it's a positive and a negative.
Hall
The
of Famer.
positive being
Yeah.
he's had consistency. The negative being this is his first time away from home. So they've had a way of doing things for so long, the way that they go through an install, the way that they read progressions, and that's what some of that stuff was kind of showing was he was kind of coming across as almost if he knew more or his way was better
Hmm.
to go through a read progression. And those are the little things that when you're in an interview with, coaches and they want to see how coachable you are, they want to see, how you kind of handle adversity, how you handle different, football schemes. They might show you something in the way that they do it. Maybe it's a way that's similar to the way they do it. They just want to see you pick it up, and you tell them that that's not the way that you do it. That's not what they want to hear.
Hmm.
So
Right.
that's essentially why I think the interview process is kind of going that way. You also have to understand he's going to come with a circus.
Yeah.
Um, his
He's
dad's
coming
going
for
to
show.
comment on everything. It's never going to be his fault.
Hmm.
So is that something that you want to introduce to your locker room? Those are the kind of questions that are floating around.
Right. Right. And I was thinking about this over the weekend too. If his name was not Shedeur Sanders and he was Billy Smith, no, didn't have the
Mhm.
personality or the circus. When I tried to remove the showmanship, and because I didn't want to fall into the Johnny Manziel trap of, and he's better than Johnny, don't get me
Mhm.
wrong, but the
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah, yeah.
Manziel trap of, oh, he's got the money sign and all the flash and it's fun. If you remove that, I'm looking at Shedeur Sanders, and the mocks that have him, that you're saying in the second round, I kind of see a second round quarterback, somebody who's could be good, could be a distributor and be fine, but not a second overall pick.
A lot of people in the league see it that way too.
Hmm.
Came into the combine with that. So that's kind of one of the things that's been going around with a lot of people in the media, asking for opinions on which one do you prefer. Is it Ward or is it Shador? And overwhelmingly, it's been Ward. And that's just gotten stronger as this week has gone, this past
Yeah.
at the combine. But I think that I've got a first, second round grade on him. A tape grade, I would say he was a third, fourth rounder, and that
Hmm.
seems to be where a lot of the older scouts in the league are with him. I've noticed this consistently throughout many drafts that the older scouts typically have different, grades than the younger guys. Will Levis
Right.
is a great example of this a couple years ago, where older scouts had third, fourth round grades on him. The younger scouts had, fifth overall on him, and
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
we see how that's kind of worked out. So
Right.
we're kind of seeing something similar to that with Shador.
But that's going to be a fascinating watch. And of course, what the Titans do, either staying at the pick, trading out of the pick, whatever. Can Shador, he seems to have the Giants in their pocket, that the Giants get caught up in the star studded lights of, oh, Dion to New York. That's going to be one of the fascinating storylines. One more area for you, real quick, John. I want to go running backs here. Nick
Mhm.
Chubb, of course, was announced this week that Andrew Berry said they're going to let him try free agency. We hope he comes back, even on a 1 year deal. Even if he does, it looks like, and let's hope he's proved wrong and come dials back the clock, but it looks like rotation guy at this point now after that injury. So the
Mhm.
Browns need an impact running back, not necessarily even a bell cow, but a guy to go. And I don't know about you, John, but I'm watching these running backs. They did not disappoint. Travion Henderson, Ohio State. Yes, please. That guy's, holy cow. Like,
In-state
it
talent too.
was,
Yeah, in-state
yeah,
talent.
home state talent. So the big names to watch, we had Giante, Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. Like, there's a bunch of running backs that I think, just based on the depth in this draft, you're probably going to end up getting a good value, probably second round value on some of these guys that could have gone in the first, I think.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Genty go first.
Yeah,
He
I think
probably
so.
doesn't get past 12th overall, to be honest with you. The Cowboys needed the
The
running
talent.
back, and just yeah, I think it's pretty obvious where Jerry's going to want to go with that.
Yeah.
Hampton is the guy that I would almost expect to see in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Again, depends how the board falls, but he does everything that you can ask. He's got home run speed. He's a bruiser. Um, Caleb Johnson is probably going to be in that early second round window, as well as Judkins and Henderson. And I'll give you
Mm-hmm.
this little sleeper here. He might even
Oh,
still be on the board to pick early in the third round. So if you wanted to address another position in the second and then come back in the third,
okay.
um, it's Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Dylan
Make a note
Sampson
of that.
didn't run at the combine, but he's got potentially sub 4.4 speed, and he's surprisingly very effective in between the tackles, which is
Hmm.
at 5'9", 195. You and with that kind of speed, you wouldn't necessarily expect that, but he ran consistently between the tackles at the University of Tennessee this year as their bell cow running back.
Okay.
That's a very high tempo, fast paced offense. They kind of, a lot of times they're snapping the ball while there's still 25 or 30 seconds left on the play clock. He could carry the ball 6, 7 times in a row, and he's still got juice. So he's got endurance, and he can handle that kind of a load. And
Okay.
then I think as a receiver, he brings that as well. But it's really just he shocks you between the tackles with how efficient his contact balance is. His field vision is incredible, and he broke a 60 or 70-year-old record at the University of Tennessee for rushing touchdowns in a single season that's
Oh,
been held
wow.
by Johnny Majors all this time. So he's a guy that I would expect to see go very high. Um, in the third round at least, and maybe even up into the second. But I think more than likely with this depth, he'll be sitting there in the third round.
Third round. I'm making a note of this, John. I like what I'm hearing here. Um, Another guy, uh, pardon my pronunciation if I get it wrong, Bayshul Tootin out of Virginia Tech, 5'9", 206.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
he popped. He popped. I don't know if I said his name right, but he does have the knock ball security issues, but looks like elusive, makes first guys miss. Tell me about him.
So pop to me back in 2023. I
Oh,
think in their bowl game, watching them play in that bowl game. Very explosive dude. Obviously tested elite in all his explosive numbers. He was very good in his run. Well above average in everything he did at the combine this week. The thing with him is fumble. He's got some ball security issues, and that
right,
might
right, right.
push him down just a little bit. But he does, again, he's one of these guys. He can do everything. He'll surprise you as a pass protector. He's a very good receiver who can play out of the slot in a pinch. And he's got real good contact balance as well when he holds on to the football.
Nice. All right, John. Last one for you. Anybody that just you want to talk about that really stood out to you? A tight end, maybe? Harold Thanon Jr., Gunnar Helm, Joshua Simon. I like Mason Taylor, Brownstein tight ends. But anybody just for you is there like this is my guy coming out of the combine that popped?
Man, Jackson Slater, Sacramento State. I came out of the Senior Bowl talking about him a lot.
You did.
He's been
Yes.
my guy. He's been my guy since way before this season started. Um, Caught on to him at Sacramento State going into this year. Um, he came out and he put an elite run time together. Forward guard, he ran a sub 540, got down to 491. So he's got real great pulling speed. His split was good as well. So he's just going to be one of these physical, nasty pulling right guards. Uh, Not the sexy pick to go with, but my guy, love him to death. Just the aggression that he plays with. He's all about being disruptive off his first step, and that's where he's going to make his money.
So what round do you think? We talking mid round? Browns could use
We're
some
going to
offensive
probably
line
talk
help.
day two. Oh, day two.
Me too.
He's going to come off
Okay.
the board day two. Mhm.
All right. Jackson Slater, folks. Oh, John, we could talk all day, man. I know you've been running the gauntlet after the combine, but we'll have you
It's
get
it's
on.
that post combine rush, bro. It's that post combine rush.
I'm still buzzing. It's ridiculous. People are like, "Are you nuts?" Like you're watching guys, and I'm like, "Yeah," because this is where the journey really kicks in, right? Because now we have all this info, we see what happens in free agency, and then we get to go back, John, and look at all this, and then start to piece together. Oh, Team X got this, so they probably won't take here, which I thought, and then place go from there. It's so great.
Yeah, it's kind of, you got to think of it like this. You got the All-Star games, that's your wild card weekend, your
Yeah,
combine,
yeah,
that's your divisional playoff. Now we're getting close. The pro days are going to be the,
yeah.
conference championship, and then we get to draft night. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
Let's go. All right, John. Hey, tell people where they can find you, all your work, all your analysis that I know I'm going to dive more into.
Yeah, so my draft guide, you can keep up with everything I'm doing on draftvogel.com or on my Twitter or X, whatever we call it now,
Yeah.
at draftvogel. And that's where either place you can find my draft guide. It's 1,500 prospects deep, dives into every NFL team very extensively. I personally think it's the most in-depth thing that's out there on the market. But check it out for yourself and tell me what you think.
Beautiful. And that's draftvogel.com.
Yes, sir. Draftvogel.com.
There you go, brother. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon, John.
Thank you, guys.
There he goes, John Vogel, draftvogel.com. I'm going to check that out after the show. I'm trying to map my guys out. A couple more names I want to go through. Can you tell I'm pumped, folks? Let's go. Get me to the draft and get me some damn good players for the Cleveland Browns. Okay? Get me some players. Trade Myles Garrett. Get me more picks. I want more picks. I want all the picks. All of them. I want more. I want impact players. I want to get better right now. I'm jacked. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. And I'll tell you, too, running backs. Who have I been talking about at running back? Who have I been talking about at running back for months? Ollie Gordon II. Now, if you just watch the combine, and this is why you don't take the combine good or bad on its own, he ran a 4.61 second 40. Now you look at that, you're like, no. Do not be fooled. Ollie Gordon II is the real deal. And hey to Griff in the chat. Best time of the offseason, learned a lot. There you go. Thanks, Griff. YWC Football Talk, my guy. Ollie Gordon, this guy can catch. He's had comparisons to Kareem Hunt. I've been following him since 2023 with the Oklahoma State Cowboys with that season. Used Ollie Gordon to help win my college football, fantasy football championship ring, by the way. The Oklahoma State team stunk. The offensive line stunk last year. Okay, you got dragged down by it. What are you going to do? But he can catch. He can run between the tackles. He is an aggressive, dynamic player. And Ollie Gordon II, maybe did the Browns a favor. I think you can get him in the fourth round or end of the third. Browns got two third round picks. You come right with Ollie Gordon II, I would be smiling ear to ear. I'd be thrilled. He's really good. And I want to check more about that Dylan Sampson guy. A couple more names. Now, we didn't get to, I wanted to touch on the tight ends. Okay, so this is Browns need tight ends, right? We're going back to Stefanski's system. Need tight ends. Who do we got? David Njoku. Jordan Akins is a free agent. He ain't coming back. Get out of here. We need rookie, maybe two, and we need a free agent. You're going to need at least 4 or 5 deep at this tight end group to go back to what was working with Stefanski before. So who do we like? There's Harold Fannin Jr., BGSU, 6'3" and a quarter, 241. Probable first-round pick. Gunnar Helm, great name out of Texas. What a great Texas name, Gunnar. Huh? That's a Texas name for you. 6'5", 241. Ran a 4.88 second 40, 766 receiving yards. Underwhelmed me a little bit in the catching in the gauntlet where he was catching in stride. Didn't seem too smooth. Not the end of the world. Just something I noticed. That means it's not going to be good, but made me pause. Guy that jumped out to me. Give me some Joshua Simon out of South Carolina. 6'4", 239, ran a 4.65 second 40. And that time might not sound impressive, but you see a 6'4" guy run as smooth as he did. The strides that he made. 38-inch vertical as well. Big wingspan. Huge hands. This guy's going to be able to grab whatever's out. Fast with quick release. And I'm going off of the drills here. Good speed after the catch. So caught it and was able to keep it and turn it up a notch too. Not blowing you away, but turned it up after. So you want that speed after the catch. Apparently not overly tough in jump ball battles, and an okay blocker are the knocks. Can you teach that aggression? I don't know. Maybe that's why you have David Njoku when you bring him along. Natural hands, natural pass catch. The over-the-shoulder deep ball, he's very fluid. It was like watching tight end artwork. He was very smooth. I didn't mind Terrence Ferguson Jr. either. Mason Taylor, polished route runner, very good ball tracker. Son of Hall of Famer Jason Taylor, defensive end, 6'5", 251. Let's get the big boys. Come on, Andrew Barry. Give me some big dogs here, okay? Come on. Wide receivers we hadn't talked about. I mentioned oh no, that was on my last show. I did our buddy Josh Hennig from ESPN out of Philadelphia. I did his show before this one. Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins is someone I would like the Browns to target. I'm not sure where he's going to end up. I think you're going to see some real nice value for these wide receivers because you don't have McMillan, I think, is a number one just because of his size, but he doesn't blaze you with the speed. 6'5", though, he's a big bodied guy. But outside that, you have a lot of good twos. Somebody maybe the Cincinnati Bengals would take to replace a T. Higgins. So you have a bunch of good complementary pieces as a 2, not necessarily a true alpha dog number 1. That's fine. But I think you're going to be able to get some value second, third round on some of these guys. Jaden Higgins, Iowa State. And I want big body guys. Who do the Browns have that's big at wide receiver? You got Cedric Tillman, got his 2 rookie cards there. How about this to complement him? Higgins, 6'4" and an 1/8, bigger than Tillman. 214, ran a 4.47 second 40 at 6'4 plus. Ridiculous. Apparently, too, draws a lot of penalties in college. Keeps his hands to himself, but draws a lot of penalties. The Browns have caused a lot of penalties. Be nice to maybe draw some penalties. Comparisons going to Nico Collins. It's been up and down in his NFL career, but that body type, when it's on, real nice. These are my notes. Showed natural hands, kept speed and stride during the gauntlet. Big catch radius. Jaden Higgins, Iowa State, is somebody I want to watch for. I like to Alec Amaner out of Stanford, 6'1" and 3/4. And Jack Besh. That guy out of TCU. Talked about him at the Senior Bowl. His brother passed away tragically. This guy's a player. He is a focused, seems military-esque, if that makes sense. Very focused and just driven. 6'1", 214, 34.5-inch vertical. Was the star of the Senior Bowl. Crisp route runner, footwork, great hands, big body. He looked big. He looked bulky, not fat or anything. He can move, but he looked bulky in a good way and can break tackles. He'll run through you. So again, Jack isn't going to be a number 1 per se, but could he be a great number 2 in certain situations? Absolutely. I'd love the Browns to take him. Oh, this is so much fun, guys. Oh, my gosh. Stay away from Higgins. Griffiths in the chat. Wait, you want Higgins? Jaden Higgins, Iowa State. You want him for the Patriots, Griff? He's mine. You can't have him. Griff's a Patriots fan. You guys go take your... I wonder who Patriots are going to take. That'll be interesting, top of the draft. You want him at 38? Are you going to take him that high? He's good. You fell in love with him too, huh? I know it. Sam Brown Jr. is not bad. Makes you miss after the catch out of Miami. I got 6'2" and 1/4. 4.44 second 40. These guys just keep getting silly fast. Matthew Golden. Smaller guys, but speed. Texas is producing. You got Xavier Worthy last year. The speed. Matthew Golden. 4.29, 4.28 depending. Second 40. Blazed. 9 touchdowns in 2024. Also, his teammate Isaiah Bond, 5'10" and an 8th, 180, 4.39 seconds. Fluent stride, speeds up after catch, natural hands, tracks the deep ball well. So smaller guys. I feel the Browns have enough of those types. Right? Give me big, fast dudes. The NFL is made of big, strong, fast, angry men. Don't give me more zippy little guys. Give me power, strong guys that can run through you and catch the damn ball. We got some of those. Griff likes Bond too. This class is loaded for position. Yeah, so I'm open season for New England. Yeah, you got your QB. Now it's fun time for you. You got your QB. You can play. You can build. And you better if you're the Patriots build on that offense. That offense sucked. You need a running back too. Don't you be taking my Ollie Gordon either. Boy, we'll be talking a lot more draft. Free agency coming up. Rumors, right? Free agency will be, I think, is it the 12th? It's coming up soon. So we'll be tracking all of that. Let me know who you won the draft. Who is your draft darling, your draft crush? Defensive side, it was Ty Robinson. Offensive side, I got to say it was Jackson Dart. Although Will Howard still has my heart. But Ty Robinson, holy moly. Get me him on the defensive line. Let me know yours. Who was your go-to? Who is your draft crush? Your combine crush? Who was it? Let me know. Yeah, legal tampering next Monday, but league year, starts at 4 next Wednesday. Oh, yeah, we'll have a show Wednesday afternoon after everything, after some of the announcements come through, the big ones. And we'll see what the heck the Browns and the whole NFL do. Darius Slay got released from the Eagles, so who the heck knows what's going to happen. Fun show. Thank you very much to John Vogel, draftvogel.com. Make sure you're checking out his great draft analysis there. Go back, check this. I got a whole bunch of notes we're going to keep going over. I'm in heaven right now. This is great. Thanks to all of you in the chat. Thanks to John Vogel, producer Shane. Hey, the draft will be here before we know it. I'm Andy McNamara. And as always, go Browns.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.